Alright, welcome everybody. We're going to go on our first real ride, the CT125. We're going to create our ride and basically start recording. Because this is kind of going to be used as a break-in ride to get some miles on the bike, get the engine working, and get the rings seated in. It still smells very strong of new motor, so it needs to get hot. The catalytic converter needs to be heated up and cooled and get everything moving around. So that's what we're going to do today. And then at the same time, I'm going to tell you what my first thoughts are of it. Initial impressions. So key on. You see your display comes up and it initializes. Turn your switch down. You can hear the fuel injection kind of pump. Same sort of electric start as the Monkey in the Grom, but I also want to show you something cool too. So turn it on, put that on, look down here, kickstart, just like that. Kickstart's just the same, so that's pretty interesting. And of course we have the semi-automatic, no clutch, which is definitely a little bit weird for me. I'm always reaching for that clutch. So you lift up, it's 4 gears up. So we lift it up and no clutch, just go. And it's obviously super quiet, like scary quiet, stealth mode. Take a little bit of a cruise here, close my visor. So we're cruising along at about 42 miles an hour. And put the power down. There's a little bit more birds. So we're at 47, 48, and I'm of course all the way down 49, 49, 49, yeah, 49. It sounds like this semi-automatic downshifting is chirping the rear tires. It's pretty funny. So of course we're fully road legal and I'm on a road right now. It's got its blinkers, so we'll head off to the left here. There's a community down this way. We'll definitely do a little bit of exploring. The shifting, the semi-automatic shifting is too easy. Like I feel like I should be doing more stuff with the bike, and it's deceiving because I'm always grabbing for a clutch. I always have a clutch on a motorcycle, except my old CT70, Trail 70. That one has the same sort of setup as this. And I have noticed that in the first couple of downshifts that I've done, it kind of does chirp the rear tire. Like when it goes down to the next lowest gear, kind of the speed difference. Obviously there's like no clutch to be easy to facilitate that, or you know, there's no blip in the throttle like when I do a hand blip, throttle blip, downshift. Yeah, let's see, I just tried to do it there. Didn't really work out as I hoped it would. But the power delivery is very soft, it's very smooth. The engine's super quiet, obviously. So we're gonna take a little off-road adventure. Because after all, this is the Trail 125. And while we're not on a trail, I do like the ability to just jump off-road whenever I feel like it. And with most of my riding being off-road, that's definitely something that led me to want to get this bike. This is a pretty good little first test here because it's actually a little levee road, or I don't know. Hit some good little potholes there. And it's taking them pretty good. You can tell right off the bat, this suspension is much more composed than the Honda Monkey. If I were to do this with the Honda Monkey, I probably had bottomed out those front forks already. But to its defense, the Honda Monkey is really not an off-road bike. I just treat it like one. So this is by no means rough, but it does get a little bouncy. But I'm cruising along pretty good. I'm going 23 miles an hour over this little grassy road. The bike feels really well composed. It's pretty funny. If I were to keep going straight, I'd go straight through that creek. Which brings up an interesting point. So I don't know why, but the video was taken off of YouTube or deleted. The Mr. Lang Lang guy or something from Thailand, he literally takes this bike through a shallow lake to a little island. I thought that was the coolest thing, and is definitely an inspiration for me getting this bike. So the first time that I came down this little stretch here and saw this little water passage, I instantly said, you know what would go through that would be the trail. And of course I didn't have a trail at that time, but I'd seen that video, and this, as silly as it sounds, this spot right here was one of the major inspirations and decision makers for me buying this bike, because I want to take this bike through this little water passage. It doesn't look like it's too deep, maybe like a foot deep. It's got a sandy bottom, and when it warms up a little bit, I'm gonna do this. This is on my hit list, so this is gonna be one of the water tests for the trail. So I just wanted to drop in here and check this out and see what it's looking like. It's actually really tempting right now. If it warms up soon, I'm gonna come do this, and we're gonna video it, and it's gonna be fun. So that's that. So the trails now have 6 miles on it, and it smells very strong of a break-in, which of course is, you know, because it's breaking in. Okay, so creek crossing spot. We will come back to you. I know you all want me to go through this, and I really want to go through it bad right now, but I don't want to kill all my content with one video, so let's cruise back. And I think there's a little cutover road that we can take to get to some sort of rural neighborhood back roads where I can just kind of cruise and get some miles on this bike. I don't want to hit wide open throttle miles. That was a good test of the front forks over there. Hit like a root or something, and they haven't bottomed out yet, so I'm really surprised so far. And well, I'll be able to do the one-to-one comparison of how fast they bottom out when we go to test this at Lars's pit bike track, which is probably what I'm going to hit next. We'll do that here in a little while. But so far so good. The front forks, they just feel a lot more solid. And it's crazy because this is basically a scooter, and it feels so much more stiff. It's way stiffer than the Monkey and the Grom. It's got a really solid feel to it. And it's funny because it's more of like a scooter seat. So even in the scooter riding position, because you know my legs are kind of pinched inwards and you know swept back a little bit, it still just feels like a really solid bike. So far so good. I'm pretty impressed by the feel of this bike. The balance feels great too, and the riding position is pretty good. You can swing it around pretty good. It's got a good turning response, good turning ratio. I don't know if it'll do wheelies yet. Oh, it's gonna be tough. It's a lot longer of a wheelbase than the Monkey. Oh, there's another potential creek crossing spot. Let's see if I can do like a 2 feet down wheelie. Oh man, this clutch is not grabby. So this automatic clutch is definitely not the best thing if you want to do some wheelies. I'm not a wheelie guy, but I can usually pop it up. It's not easy. Kind of have to get up in the RPM range a little bit. Maybe look for like a little hole here. Yeah, the semi-automatic clutch is definitely trickier to try to get the front wheel up in the air, which could be a little tough when you start hitting some trails and you want to do some log hopping and stuff like that. All right, we emerge back on pavement. So that's another thing I'm curious about. Don't know if you can see this or not, but the front headlight bezel. So you might be familiar with my saga on the front headlight bezel for the Monkey, as in it splits. As soon as you go off-road, that headlight bezel will split, and then your headlight pops out like an eye popping out of its socket. Okay, and then those screws on the side, screws here down at like 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock position, kind of unthread themselves and they get lost. Ooh, dirt. I would like to have that dirt. Anyways, I digress. So I'm curious to see if this headlight bezel is going to pop out. Even if it does, I think I have the fix for it anyways, based on what I found with the Monkey. And this is the part that I really like. So when the road ends, your ride doesn't have to stop. There we go. I didn't even stand up on that transition. And the bike just took it seamlessly. No washing out or anything. So you might notice this spot here. This is the other side of the creek crossing that I want to do. Gonna get a little adventurous here. So I wonder how deep it is. It's totally not deep, but it is kind of silty. I wonder if the bike would make it through. Should I try it? What do y'all think? Could be fun. Ooh man, I don't know, that's soft down there. I don't know if I want to do it on the break-in ride. I should probably wait. Yeah, sorry to build that up for you. I'm gonna wait. I want to get this bike broken in. It's only 10 miles. From what I've learned from the ECU break-ins and stuff on the Monkey, these things really don't learn their ECU mappings until about 20 miles. Yeah, so I totally think I can do it right now, but I just want to let this bike kind of break in. My future with this bike includes a lot of this stuff, but I think I'm gonna give it just a little bit of a break right after it's only 10 miles old. But we'll come back to this very soon. But I'll go through this stuff down here. See how it takes this mud. So far so good, but this is not like, not really mud right now. It's just kind of wet dirt. It climbed out of that hole pretty easy. It's actually a nice little mud bog for future reference. It's a good little test area. Yeah, so little off-road test so far. A little mud, a little wet dirt, like 2 inches of water. Feels doesn't feel like there's gonna be much that's gonna stop this little bike, except the automatic clutch. So as I was saying before, the automatic clutch doesn't like it, it's not as direct as having a manual clutch, and that can be a problem when you're going through stuff like mud, because if you get some really sticky mud, it's just gonna stop you in your tracks, and you need like that torque and that power to pull out. If there's clutch slipping, you're losing a lot of your direct power on a really small cc motor. So we'll cross that bridge when it comes though.